Hi everyone, very good morning and welcome back to Grade B. So in this particular session, we'll be learning about few of the basics of cash flow, right? So let's start with it because I have taken out this topic because many of the times whenever we discuss the ratios or let's say any kind of financial statements, I always talk about that this is operating activity, this is investing activity and this is financing activity. Now the person who's from commerce background, it would be quite easy for him to understand that what is a operating activity or investing activity or a financing activity, right? But the same thing I cannot expect from a person who is from a non-commerce background. So we in this particular session we would like to make the things simpler for all those people who are from the non-commerce background who might be having a difficulty in understanding this particular topic. So let's start with this. In this particular topic, in a very easy way, we will understand that what are cash and cash equivalents, right? We will also understand that what are operating activities and as well as many examples of operating activities that could be directly asked in the examination, and examples of investing and financing activities as well, right? So it is going to be a useful lesson, right? Not because even if you know the concept, suppose you already know the concept, but there are some examples, but there are some peculiar things which might be new to you. So with that particular background, let's start this particular discussion. Fine. So first of all, whenever it has been said that an entity has to present its financial statements always include a cash flow statement. Okay? So whenever I say financial statements, I mean to say balance sheet. I also mean to say P&L and plus your cash flow statement. Why? Because see, if you are an investor or if you are a prospective investor, you would like to know that okay fine, as an entity I might have shown a profit of 5 crores, right? हो सकता है मैंने 5 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट दिखा दिया हो, but what is my cash flow position? Whether I am receiving cash or cash is going out of my business, what is the situation? ठीक है? So when we read cash flow statement along with profit and loss account, it gives us a wider picture. ठीक है? It gives us a very nice picture about the business enterprise, that whether it is making profits or it is into losses or what is the situation. So now the background is clear. Now let's understand the regulatory requirements over here. So you see, cash flow statement, they show the inflow and outflow of cash and cash equivalents, right? Now what is cash equivalents? There is also, see, I know many of you might be knowing that what is cash equivalents, but today I will add one or two few more points into your knowledge. So just wait for it, and if you get such addition, that will be very nice. Okay. Now see, accounting standards, these are notified under section 133 of the Companies Act 2013. Now there are accounting standards rule also that are mandatory in nature. So cash flow statement, this is prepared as in accordance with accounting standard 3. See, now Ind AS are also applicable, fine, but there is a turnover related requirement for that. And there are many organizations for which we have still your accounting standards. These are being notified, right? So see over here, financial statements, these are defined in Companies Act 2013 section 2 and includes cash flow statement prepared in accordance with the accounting standard 3, right? So accounting standard 3 is the one according to which cash flow statements are prepared, and we will see many of the definitions over here. Next thing is, it requires that an enterprise should prepare a cash flow statement and should present it for each accounting period for which financial statements are present. Next, the primary objective. What is the primary objective of preparing a cash flow statement? It is that they want to know about what is operating activity, what is investing activity, and what is financing activity. We would like to know about all of them. Moving ahead and talking about benefits of cash flow. So what kind of benefits cash flow is going to provide me? See, cash flow statement, when used along with other financial statement, it provides the information that enables user to evaluate changes in the assets of enterprise. I want to know that what has been the changes incurred into my current assets or current liabilities. What is the situation? So it tells about them. It also tells about whether you will be able to generate cash and cash equivalents or not. What is your cash generating position? After that, it helps you in the comparability of reporting of operating performance by the different enterprises. So it also helps in the comparison with the along with so many enterprises. So, and lastly, it also helps in the balancing with the changing conditions. So I would like to know, see, suppose if I am not earning much from my operating activities, then I would like to know the causes, fine, and I would like to rectify them. So it also helps in the rectification. Now all that generic things have been done. Now we will be moving to the important thing called as the cash and cash equivalents, right? So cash equivalents means what? An asset which can be converted into cash within no time, that means within a matter of time, quickly, with no loss in the value of that particular asset. Suppose for example, if I have to sell a land, so I will have to wait for a suitable buyer, right? Suppose my land is having a worth of 1 crore. So not everyone is having the paying capacity of 1 crore, right? So I have to wait for a suitable buyer who will give a good price for my land. Understanding my point? And if I want to sell that particular land urgently, then I would have to sell it at a price lesser than 1 crore. So that means there is a loss in value of asset when I try to realize it into cash. I guess all of you must agree with my point over here. But there are some assets, if you want to sell it, there will be no loss in the value, right? So those are called as the cash and those are called as cash equivalents. To see over here, as per accounting standard 3, cash comprises cash in hand and demand deposits with the bank. सो कैश का मतलब तो हमको समझ में आ गया कि जो पैसा हमारे पास रखा है प्लस जो पैसा बैंक में रखा हुआ है, the amount which is with us as well as the amount which is deposited in the bank. After that, what is cash equivalent? So please remember this is an important thing, okay? It means short term highly liquid instruments that can be convertible into cash with insignificant risk of change in value. That means I do not have to worry about loss in value. If that particular asset is for 10,000, then I will get in the market approximately 10,000. There will be insignificant loss in the value. Now the examples, the investment that normally classifies as a cash equivalent only when it has short maturity. So there are some investments, short term investments, we call them as short term investments. They can be classified as your cash equivalents, but condition is they should have a maturity of 3 months or less. That means any investment which is having a maturity of 3 months or less, that can be classified into your cash equivalents. And what we call them as? We call them as short term investments. ठीक है? So if in examination, if it comes that short term investments also form part of cash equivalents, you will say yes. So short term marketable securities which can be readily convertible into cash, they are treated as cash equivalents and liquidable immediately without considerable change in value. Like gold. Gold is also a cash equivalent. So the point over here is that any asset which can be converted into cash within no matter of time, right, within 90 days, that can be called as your cash equivalent, right? Now next is the classification of activities. So as per your accounting standard 3 cash flow statement, activities are classified into 3 heads: operating activity, investing activity, and financing activity. Now, number one, we have cash from operating activities. Now, understand, whatever work you might be doing, there are situations when the money is going out of your pocket, right? That is called as cash outflow. If money is going out of my pocket, that means I am incurring the expense. That will be called as cash outflow, right? And if money is coming into your pocket, that will be called as the cash inflow. I am right? So every activity will have inflow as well as outflow. Like your operating activities, there will be some income because of your operating activity will be called as inflow, and there will be some expenses because of your operating activity, it will be called as the outflow. Right? Clear? Now let's see what are operating activities. I have told you many times. See, whenever a person starts a business, the business has been started for a specific purpose, right? There is a specific purpose to start the business. Just wait for a second. Yes. So there is a specific purpose for starting your particular business. Understanding my point? So that is called as operating activity. An activity for which you have started your business. Like suppose there is a person who is having a stationery shop, right? So purchase and sale of stationery related raw materials, that will be considered as a operating activity. A person who is having a business of selling fruits and vegetables, right? So fruits and vegetables selling, it is operating activity. A company which is involved in the manufacture of cosmetic products, that is its operating activity, right? So the activity which is the main revenue generating source of business for which the business has been started, it is called as the operating activity. So operating activities that constitute the primary or main activity of the enterprise. For example, a company which is manufacturing garments, operating activity is procurement of raw material, incurring manufacturing expenses, any expense that has been incurred to make the garments, to make the clothing materials, right? All such things will be considered as the operating activity. So these are the principal revenue generating activities of the enterprise, and these activities are not investing or financing activity. Now investing and financing activities kya hoti hain, that we are going to study in a bit of time. But first let's see the examples from the operating activities. Okay, let's see the examples of cash flow from operating activities. And one more thing, in this particular cash flow statement, we can also learn about the statement, but that is not required, right? Why it is not required? Because our examination is of a MCQ nature basis, right? And in that particular examination, concepts can be asked, or these concepts can be useful in the various other concepts like your ratios. So that is why I am teaching it over here, but we do not have to study about the statements because that is not useful for you. Now see over here, what are the examples of cash flow from operating activities? Like cash receipt from the sale of goods and rendering of services. So a garments manufacturer, when he sells the garment, sales of goods, and the amount that he receives out of it, that is a operating inflow, right? Money is coming. Cash receipt from the royalties, fees, commissions, and the other kind of revenues, this is also considered as a inflow. Suppose I have developed a patent, I have developed a technology, I got it patented, right? And now I am earning royalty onto it. So that is my operating activity, because I have developed an asset and now I am earning out of that particular asset. Very good morning. So now I am earning the income out of that particular asset. So it is also an operating activity. So such kind of examples, they can be easily asked in your examination. Next is cash payments to suppliers for goods and services. अब अ गारमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर है, लेट्स सपोज, और मेडिसिन मैन्युफैक्चरर है, you are manufacturing medicines or garments. For that you need raw material, right? So you have to call your supplier that please deliver me these raw materials. So the amount that you are going to pay to your supplier for purchase of raw materials, that is considered as an operating activity, and it is what? Inflow or outflow? This is outflow. Cash is going out of your business. Next is cash payments to the employees. Employees are working for my business. If they will not work, then my business is not going to run. Fine. So this is also an operating activity. Next is cash payments to an insurance enterprise for premiums and claims, annuities, and another policy benefits. Now, see, cash payments to an insurance enterprise for premiums and claims. This is considered as an operating activity if you have taken insurance for your factory, for inventory, for a machinery, right? So if you have taken insurance for your factory, your inventory, your machinery like that, then that is will be considered as an operating activity. Next is lastly cash payments of income tax, unless they can be specifically identified with the financing and investing activity. Acha, this income tax I have included in the end as well. So there are various kinds of taxes that we pay to the government, fine, and there is a different classification for all of them. So here income tax means, see, I am doing business, right? In that particular business I am earning some profit. तो जब profit आ रहा है तो tax भी देना पड़ेगा. If you are earning profits, then you have to pay the cash as well, you have to pay the tax as well, right? So income tax is paid, and such income tax is taken as an operating activity. ठीक है? Now that is done. Next our target is investing activity. So as per accounting standard 3, the investing activities, they are acquisition and disposal of long-term assets and other investments which are not included in the cash equivalents. Now, the investments which have a maturity within 3 months, they are called as cash equivalents. But other investments which are long-term in nature, they are taken over here as an investing activity. Investment means, suppose I am teaching you guys, right? So this is my operating activity. This is my principal revenue generating activity. Okay. But I can also invest in the shares of Reliance. That has got no relation with me teaching you over here. Okay. But I will start earning income out of that as well. Correct. So that is called as investing activity. Such activities which do not have relation with your business. Business से तो कोई लेना देना नहीं है. It is simply purely a investment out of which you are earning incomes. Understood my point? So this is called as investing activity. Investing activities, they relate to purchase and sale of long-term assets or fixed assets, like if you purchase machinery, furniture, land, building, as well as transactions related to long-term investments, they all are called as investing activity. Acha, only purchase is included? No. Purchase as well as sale. So now I have a question. Question is, suppose if I have earned a profit on sale of machinery, profit on sale of machinery, profit on sale of building, profit on sale of investment, or loss on sale of investment, loss on sale of building, etc., etc. What kind of activity is this? Is this an investing activity, or it is a operating activity, or it is a financing activity? What kind of activity is this? If I have earned profit, let's say on machinery, building, investments, anything, any kind of asset, good, it is investing activity, right? So this I have included this for, because purchase, sale of long-term asset is included in investing activity. Therefore, if any profit or loss you are incurring on such purchase and sale or anything, that will be considered as an investing activity also. Take now examples. See the examples of investing activity. Cash payments to acquire the assets, including intangibles like your research and development related thing if you have paid cash for it. If you have acquired shares, debt instruments or any other kind of investments and you want to hold, अच्छा, other than for trading purpose. Now इस पे भी एक चर्चा कर लेते हैं. Let's discuss this as well. See, suppose there are two companies, right? One company is this A. This is into medicine manufacturing, right? This company manufactures medicine. And then we also have a company B. This is, its business is trading in share market. Now, because of your activity, the classification also differs, right? So, see this particular entity, this is into business of medicines, right? So, its operating activity is medicine manufacturing. Therefore, if this entity will invest any amount in shares or debt instruments, that will be taken as an investing activity. ठीक? But this entity which is involved in the trading of shares and like that, for this investment in shares or debt instruments, it will be its operating activity because its business is doing trading only. I hope you are understanding my point, which I want to clarify. So that is why it has been written that yes, if you invest in shares, debt instruments, that will be classified as an investing activity. But if you are a trading entity, then in that particular case, such acquisition of shares or debt instruments, that will be taken as a operating activity. ठीक है? Next is cash advances and loans made to the third party. So suppose I am into the business of medicine manufacturing again, and there is a person who comes to me and he says that I want a loan of 5 lakh rupees and can you lend me? I'll give it to you after some days. So I gave it and I will charge interest on that. So this is investing activity. ठीक है? I have given my money on loan to someone and I will charge interest on that. This is investing activity. But suppose if I am a financial institution, I am a bank, right? So this is my activity to give loans. So in that particular case, that will classify as my operating activity, not investing activity. So it also depends on what kind of business you are doing. Okay? If you are doing a medicine manufacturing business, then giving loan to someone will be classified as an investing activity. And if you are a financial institution, then giving loan to someone will classify as a ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी, क्योंकि ये तो आपका काम है लोगों को लोन देना. ठीक. नेक्स्ट इज कैश रिसिट फ्रॉम द डिस्पोजल ऑफ फिक्स्ड असेट्स इंक्लूडिंग इंटेंजिबल्स. If you are selling any fixed asset, that will be classified as an investing activity. From disposal of shares, if you are receiving any amount, interest received, dividend received. See, obviously, if I have invested in debentures, then I will get interest. If I have given loan to someone, I will get interest, right? So such things, they are classified as a investing activity. Obviously, if you have invested in shares, you are going to receive dividend. Fine. Dividend is your what? Dividend is your investing activity. Dividend received is your investing activity. Fine. So please remember, dividend paid will also come and that we will classify into financing activity. Hence, please pay good attention onto this. I hope the investing activity is clear to everyone. Now focusing on the financing activity. ठीक. So financing activities, they relate to long-term funds or capital of an enterprise. So if I am issuing equity shares, I am issuing debentures, I am raising long-term loans, right? all such things they classify as financing activity. In short, if there is any change in my liability side, in my long-term liabilities or my share capital, that comes under financing activity. Financing activity means how I am financing my business. I repeat, financing activity is how I am financing my business. So as per accounting standard 3, financing activities, these are those activities that result into changes of size and composition of owner's capital and borrowings of the enterprise. Take. Now let's see the examples of your financing activity and it will be clear to you. What are the examples? So if you have received any amount by issuing your own shares, that is a financing activity. If you have received amount by issuing debentures, financing activity. If you have taken loan, bond or any other kind of long-term borrowing, money is coming to you, that is also financing activity. Now if today I have taken bank loan, then one day I have to repay it as well, right? So repayment is also into financing activity, because what you have done, you have taken loan. With that, cash repayments of the amounts borrowed, financing activity. Interest paid, see you have issued debentures, that means आपने लोगों से पैसा उधार लिया है. You have borrowed money from the people in form of debentures. So you have to pay interest as well. So that interest will also classify as a financing activity. Dividends paid on equity shares. If you have issued equity shares, preference shares, then you have to pay dividend as well. Dividend received was an investing activity and dividend paid was a financing activity. Take clear? So these are all the examples. Now for example, when an installment is paid in respect of fixed assets acquired on deferred payment basis, it includes both interest and loan. The interest element is classified under financing activity and loan element will be classified as an investing activity. They mean to say that if you have purchased an asset on installment basis, suppose I purchased a car on installment basis. So in installment there are two components, one is principal and the other one is the interest, right? So principal amount will be considered as an investing activity and the interest which I am paying because I have taken loan, it's a sort of loan, right? So that will be classified in the financing activity. Next thing is, now this I have already explained. So for a share brokerage firm, purchasing of shares, that will be classified as an operating activity. But for an entity which is involved in manufacture of medicines, for them purchasing of shares is an investing activity. So it also depends on the kind of business you are doing. Now there are some extra items like non-cash transactions. So such transactions which do not bring any impact on the cash. I repeat, such transactions which do not bring any impact on the cash, they are called as non-cash transactions and they do not form part of my cash flow statement. For example, depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash item not included in my cash flow statement. Transfer to general reserves. See, if I have earned a profit and I transfer it to general reserve, then no cash is involved out of here, so it will not form part of my financial statement. Any kinds of provisions that I have made, making of provisions, actually cash has not spent by you, right? You have just made a provision, so they will also not form part of your cash flow statements. Okay? Now non-cash transactions, for example, suppose I purchased a land, right, and instead of paying in cash I purchased a land. Now that should be classified as an investing activity, but I have not paid cash for it. I said to the person that please take my shares, mere shares le lo. So I took the land and I gave my shares. So this is a non-cash transaction because cash तो involve हुआ ही नहीं. मैंने land एक asset ले ली और मैंने shares अपने दे दिए. right? So in this particular case, no cash is involved, hence it will not form part of your cash flow statement. See, as per Accounting Standard 3, investing and financing transactions that do not require use of cash and cash equivalents, they should be excluded from the cash flow statement. For example, acquisition of machinery by issue of equity shares or redemption by issue of equity shares. You are redeeming your debentures. Now maturity of debentures came, right? You had to pay cash to them, but you said that don't take cash, take these equity shares, right? So redeeming the debentures, it should be a financing activity, ठीक है? लेकिन आपने इसके लिए shares दे दिए, so कोई cash तो हुआ ही नहीं. There is no transaction in cash, hence it will not form part of my cash flow statement. Okay. Now, lastly, we have taxes on incomes and gains. See, there are different kinds of taxes. Earlier, there was a dividend tax as well. Fine. But will not include right now. Taxes on your operating profit. It should be classified as an operating activity. So whatever revenue I am earning out of my business, if there is a tax imposed onto this, that is will be called as my operating activity and I have to pay tax on it. But see, there is also a capital gain tax that is involved. So suppose I purchased a land in 2005 for 10 lakh rupees, right? And I sold that particular land right now in 2023 for 5 crores. Now the difference 5 crores and 10 lakhs, I have gained so much, right? So government imposes tax on it. It is called as capital gain. So whenever you have a long-term asset, capital asset, there is a separate definition of long-term capital asset, and you sell it, and by the sale or transfer of it you incur a profit, that is called as capital gain. और अगर कोई भी ऐसा टैक्स लग रहा है capital gains tax, then that will be classified as my investing activity, because purchase and sale of asset is classified as investing activity. That is why capital gain tax which I pay on the sale of fixed asset, that will also be classified as an investing activity. So I hope that was a new point for you. Next thing is interest and dividend. So in case of a financial enterprise means like a bank whose main business is lending and borrowing, right? So this, with relation to such kind of financial institutions, interest paid, interest received, dividend received, they are all operating activities. Why? Because they are involved in such kind of business. Their business, it talks about just lending and borrowing. Fine. So for financial enterprises, interest paid, interest received, dividend received, everything will be classified as an operating activity. But for a non-financial enterprise, like a company which is manufacturing medicines, for them, payment of interest and dividend, it will be classified as a financing activity. Fine. When they are paying the interest and dividends, it will be classified as financing activity. And if they are receiving interest and dividends, that will be classified as an investing activity, that we have already studied. So the only exception is financial enterprise. In case of financial enterprise, because they are already in such kind of business, hence the interest and dividends, whatever they have earned or paid or anything, that will be classified as their operating activity. So I have tried to cover all the peculiar points which were important for your understanding. I hope that you did like this particular video. Okay. So thank you so much for joining in. Please do not forget to like this video, and this is everything you need to know about cash flow statements or basics of cash flow. This is going to help you for your accounting ratio concept as well as any future accounting topic. It will be easier for you to understand that what is operating, what is investing and what is financing. ठीक है? So thank you so much.